Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. You may notice that I've got a bit more of a spring in my step this weekend. Reason being, I no longer have to work Saturdays. I've got entire weekends off. My first one was last week. It's absolutely brilliant. I had no idea how much I'd missed having a full weekend off. It's brilliant. It gives me more time to watch movies. It gives me more time to plan the videos so that I'm not rushing at the last minute to put notes together, cut and paste comments, find DVDs and Blu-rays to show off, all that kind of thing. It's just amazing. So you'll find that from now on I will be taking this at a much more leisurely pace. No more sort of bolting through these videos as quickly as possible to get them in under an hour. If they do happen to go slightly under, then so be it. But I will still be aiming to keep them under an hour, because as I said before, I think that's an ideal length for them. But if I do happen to go over, so be it. We shall see how we go. Another thing it's giving me time to do is to get used to this alien piece of technology that I was presented with probably 2-3 years ago at work. I believe it was some kind of a raffle that I won, something to do with that anyway. And somebody dashed across the yard as I was on my way over to clean the transport offices and said, "I've got something to present to you. You've won this," and it was an iPad. I had no idea what to do with it. I sort of registered it with its Apple ID and all this sort of thing probably 2 years ago, put it back in the box, and it's sat in a corner ever since gathering dust. So I thought time to actually get used to using this thing, so I've charged it up again. I have no idea where to start. I've bought a book on how to use an iPad, which I'm going to be delving into at some point. I've knocked the camera, haven't I? And I've also downloaded some videos on YouTube, iPads for beginners. There's one called iPad for Seniors, which that's probably the one I should look at first. So, but I'm looking forward to getting to grips with that. I believe you can do pretty much anything on it. I've yet to find out how to actually go on the internet with it, where the browser is and all this sort of thing, but I'm literally starting from scratch with it. So that's another thing that I'm going to have time to do at the weekends now. It's also great to have your pictures, by the way. You're still sending me pictures of you watching the videos on Saturday mornings. Absolutely love it. Keep them coming, guys. But yes, you'll notice hopefully the videos will be a little more coherent, even though you didn't think last week's was bad. I thought it was, and that's it. So there you go. I mean, yesterday I got 3 movies watched. I can't remember the last time I watched 3 movies, sort of not so much back to back, but within the space of a day and a half. It just doesn't happen. Very, very rarely. So I actually got a chance to do that. So I'll be talking about those a little bit later on. I've relaunched the website, which is another thing that's just sat there dormant. I've meant to do something with it for quite a while. And last night I published my first article, a very short one, just to get myself back into the swing of it, which I've shared on Facebook last weekend. There will be many more like that. I've just got to decide what direction I want to take it in, whether I'm going to use it as a kind of a weekly diary of what I'm watching, or whether I'm just going to keep doing reviews. There's some tweaking I've got to do with it, which I've already started doing. It's just literally a matter of getting used to using it again. But it was what started this whole Retro Movie Zone thing off. And I felt really bad about not publishing anything at all. I think the last article that went on there was a review of Rita Sue and Bob 2, and that was over 12 months ago. And that's not good. That's not good at all, especially for a website that has had over 50,000 hits. How the hell can I let that go? So if anybody's watching that has bumped into the website, thank you so much for visiting and for looking at what I've been writing. Very much appreciated. And hopefully I'll get more visitors the more content I can put on there. I've also published my first letterbox review in a couple of months on one of the movies that I watched yesterday. So I'm going to be doing 2 or 3 of those a week. It kind of feels like a new leaf in a way. I've sort of got a new lease of life for this, because now I'm not looking at this huge mountain of stuff to do thinking, how the hell am I going to do that? I'm just literally doing one small job, onto the next one, onto the next one, onto the next one. And that's how I want it to be. Just nice and leisurely, just getting through everything. So that's the plan. We shall see how it goes. What do I start with? Oh, David Mansell, just a quick shout out to you, mate. I need to catch up with your videos. Morning, by the way. Especially the Q&A that you did, which I submitted a question for, and also the VHS video that you did. I'll be fascinated to watch that. Love VHS. So I'll be commenting on those probably next week when I've had a chance to catch up with them. So I look forward to watching them, David, very much so. Right, I'll start with comments. Let's see how far we get with this now. Gareth, you were talking about Halloween. Halloween starts October the 6th in our house after the wife's birthday is finished. Christ. It's a bit like them people that start putting Christmas decks up at the beginning of sort of end of October, and it's like, seriously? Oh, God. We have a rule on our street, only houses with pumpkins get knocked on. I'm not sure that would work with me. I think I'd just prefer to put a sign on the door, no trick or treaters. Not that it makes any bloody difference. I think Jason's got a few bits to say on that, and I believe Callie has as well, so we'll come back to that one in a bit. Loved that Evil Dead versus the BBFC video that you did, by the way. Some of those cuts were absolutely ridiculous. They were so quick they were hardly worth doing. Sort of a second, possibly 2 seconds, and it's like blink and you'll miss it. The wonderful ways of the BBFC. I could talk about them for hours. Yeah, I enjoyed that video, mate. If you do any more like that, I should definitely be watching those. As you know, I'm fascinated by the BBFC, full stop. So, yeah, I look forward to more like that, definitely. Guy. Morning, Guy. Great vid, matey boy. Thank you. Thank you very much, Guy. Much appreciated. Love that Bruce Lee box set. Thing of beauty. It's gorgeous, isn't it? Every time I look at it and think, I'll send that to the charity shop, I think, no, I'm going to hold on to that purely for the book that's in it. So yeah, I'm going to be holding on to that. It is a nice little set. In fact, I probably need to do a little video of just showing it off properly, because this thing with holding them up and trying to open them and bits falling out of them and all this, it doesn't really work, does it? So if you'd like to see that, let me know and I'll see if I can put that together one Saturday morning for you now I've got them back again. Glad you've got Apollo 13, you'll love it. I'm fairly sure I will. I love movies about the space race and stuff like that. One of my favourites from years ago was The Right Stuff. Long film, I think it was nearly 3 hours long. But absolutely brilliant, all to do with the first sort of rockets to the moon and stuff like this. Absolutely brilliant. So yes, I am going to enjoy Apollo 13, and I'm fairly sure it's going to be a keeper. Life on Mars update. There ain't one. I've not started season 2 yet. We decided after, I'm going to say this, I'm probably going to get some flack for this, after the crushing disappointment of the last episode of Line of Duty, which I'd pretty much been looking forward to since the end of Series 1, we've decided to give series a rest just for a week or two. I've said let's just watch something light for a week or two. So we're sort of wading our way through some old Top of the Pops from BBC 4 over the last week or two. So we're not started on Life on Mars Series 2 yet, and certainly not started on Ashes to Ashes, but it is coming. The Blu-rays, now that I've got the full set, is by the TV, so that will be the next series that we do move on to. But Line of Duty, up until that last episode, I would even go as far as to say the last series, absolutely brilliant, gripping, addictive, absolutely superb. For some reason that last episode was just the biggest letdown, and I was actually talking to somebody at work about this last week, who said to me, he'd recommended this series to me wholeheartedly for like years, and finally got around to watching it, same as you guys did. And he came up to me and he says, your thoughts on the last episode? And first off I says, I'm not sure I should tell you, because I wasn't. And he went, you weren't impressed, was you? I says, no, not at all. No, I thought it was completely sort of lackluster. It didn't do anything for me at all. They just ended up, all three of them, going down in the lift, and that was it, end of. But I have heard they've all signed up to do 3 feature-length episodes over the next few years. So whether they'll be worth watching or not, I don't know. But it's such a shame, and it seems to be the way with a lot of these series. You get into them and you're watching them, and they're absolutely amazing. Then it comes to the last episode or the last season, and it just flounders. I still can't say BFs. Flounders. So I'm a little bit off put by series at the moment, but it's only for a couple of weeks, as I say. We'll be back on to Life on Mars, so there is no update on that as yet, mate. I think you may be overreacting a little to the vid of 2 weeks previous. Chill, cool out, move on, all good. I'm not going to mention it again, and I'm hoping I don't have any more experiences like that. It was just unpleasant. It just didn't make the whole making of the video process pleasurable for me at all. I get the feeling from here on in things are going to be a lot easier and a lot more straightforward, because I'm going to make them that way. And as I say, it's thanks now to having a complete weekend to actually do stuff. Don't get me wrong, I loved working. My Saturdays, I've enjoyed them. But I think the time has come to step back and concentrate on something that I genuinely do love doing, which is the videos, the website, all that sort of thing. So yeah, you'll find it hopefully a lot more coherent, I say, from here on in. So thanks ever so much for that, guy. Much appreciated, mate. Mark, morning, Mark. Mad Max. I have seen the first movie, thought it was crap. I didn't bother with 2 or 3. And we're back. Cannot believe I did that again. I forgot to take one of the sections of last week's video off the hard drive of the phone. So obviously the thing was near enough full up before it even started, and the camera just turned off. I didn't notice until sort of probably about 20-30 seconds after it had actually cut out. That is something I'm going to have to do literally the second I finish. As soon as I've transferred or copied it onto the hard drive of the computer, I'm going to have to delete it straight after, because I can't be doing with this. So much for that. Well, oh God, where were we? Mark, you were basically just telling me that you weren't overly impressed with Mad Max, in not so many words. Mad Max, I've seen the first movie, thought it was crap, didn't bother with 2 or 3. And I watched the trailer for Fury Road and it looked like an absolute shit show, so didn't bother with that one either. Definitely not impressed then. Absolutely not. As I say, I think the original is brilliant. And I think they kind of went a little bit downhill from there, but now I've got that 4K box set, I'm going to be taking another look at all of them to see whether my opinion has Christ, here we go. My opinion has changed on those, but we'll see how we go. But I can tell that you're not a great fan. Guy, you were talking to Guy. I'm 5 episodes into Ashes to Ashes. Good, but I'm not enjoying it as much as Life on Mars. Okay. Bird on a Wire is a great film. Can't wait to watch that one. The only 2 or 3 minutes that I've seen of it, I thought was absolutely brilliant, and that was probably last week or the week before on one of the movie channels. So I invested in obviously the Blu-ray to give that a go. Great video. See you next week, Tony. You certainly will, sir. Guy, you were commenting on this. I'm surprised you're not enjoying Ashes to Ashes as much as Life on Mars, but keep going with it, because it gets going something fierce. It does escalate as it goes on, especially the 3rd series. Jason backed me up on this. And Jason said Ashes to Ashes is as good as Life on Mars. I've not seen any of them for about 6 years, so they are due for their 3rd watch. Keep watching, mate. Mad Max, it may be too dated for you, Mark. I actually watched Mad Max 2 first as a kid, then the first one, then the 3rd. Mad Max 2 is so different from the first one and more violent. Fury Road I hated, and I've tried to watch it past the 1 hour mark and couldn't do it. I won't even entertain Furiosa. Yeah, I've got to watch the first 4 before I even attempt to watch Furiosa. So we'll see how we go with that. Mark, you replied, I am enjoying Ashes to Ashes, but I think it was just a bit of a buzzkill that she immediately knew what was happening to her in the first episode, unlike Sam. Yeah, you're probably right. A film can be great, but if I think it, oh, hang on. If I think it visually looks shit, then I just can't watch it. I guess I'm the same. Special effects are important to me, but not all important. But if they are bad, it does kind of put you off, and it does. But saying that, I've watched some of the most appalling movies that have also got dreadful special effects and loved them. So it doesn't automatically follow, but I get your point absolutely. So thanks for that, Mark. Much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. Jason K. Ginger Ninja, morning, Jay. Do I do any work? I wonder why people always ask me that. I wonder. Might be something to do with the pictures that you publish on the Facebook group of you sitting at your computer watching me instead of doing what you're supposed to be doing. Guess I'm just a good multitasker. You are forgiven. On the subject of going fortnightly, I get the feeling that anyone who puts out content thinks that, so you are not alone there. It's not going to happen, as I said last week. I won't be going fortnightly with it. It did cross my mind to start with, but it wouldn't work. As I've said, the comments would be far too much out of date. You can barely remember making them now, I'm sure, but you certainly won't remember them after 3 weeks. So, and to be honest, now that I've got more time to sort of dedicate to the videos, I won't need to go fortnightly. I think it was just a knee-jerk reaction to the fact that I thought the video 2 weeks ago went pretty bad, and I think it was just that, but it's not going to happen, mate. Both Turkey Shoot and Patrick are sitting on my shelf unopened. I keep meaning to watch them, but I'm too busy working. Of course you are. Got something to show you a bit later. I've been treating myself again. So I'll show you something that will be of special interest to you. Great vid, looking forward to next week already. Thanks, Jace, really appreciate that. I'll be catching up with your videos this week, by the way, your Trashy Tuesdays and your Franchise Fridays. Definitely looking forward to finding out what you thought of The First Omen. I can't believe it's landed on Disney Plus already. I think it's only been out cinema-wise probably 5-6 weeks. So yes, that will be one I'll be taking in, but I'm very curious to see what you thought of it. So thanks for that, Jace, much appreciated, mate. Always good to hear from you. Steve Mack, our Criterion guy. Morning, Steve. 1976 King Kong had Meryl Streep auditioning for it, but Dino De Laurentiis told us she was ugly. I hope she smacked him in the mouth. I certainly hope it wasn't put quite like that. That's a horrible thing to say to anybody. Yeah, Meryl Streep. She's not one for holding back, is she? So she probably gave as good as she got with that one. I have actually got it. There we go. I think the receipt's still ticking out the top there. That's the 1976 version with, is it Beau Bridges? Jeff Bridges, Charles Grodin and Jessica Lange, who presumably wasn't ugly or too ugly to take the role of that one. So yeah, I haven't seen it yet. I only bought it probably 3 months ago. And it is on my watch list. I would love to do a double bill with this and the original 1933 version, so that's on my watch list for sure. Where are we? There's a UK 4K on Studio Canal, and it has a great John Barry score. Oh, that's the one I've just shown off in it. I should pay attention to these notes more. I really enjoyed your favourite box set video, by the way. Thanks for doing that for me, much appreciated. Columbia Classics, that's a rare set. £500 to £600 that's going for. Bloody hell. I certainly won't be paying that for it, that's for sure. Lawrence of Arabia 4K Steelbook. This is driving me mad. Let me just have a quick look at this. It's been released by Zavvi earlier this year. It has now sold out. Amazon have got the US import, but I'm reluctant to get that as the Blu-rays are obviously region locked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check the special features on the Blu-ray that I've got upstairs, and if they match what are on the 4K, I will order a copy of that from Amazon. But ideally what I would like to see is a UK release of the 4K that's not limited numbers. Let's just have a proper release. It doesn't have to be a steelbook. If it's got that lovely artwork, I'm quite happy with it. I'm not bothered about it being a steelbook. I just want this thing to be released on 4K with all the sort of the special features that this American importer's got, and that's all I want. I mean, eBay are selling these ones from Zavvi I mean, obviously the Rob Dogs have got hold of a handful of them, haven't they? And they're selling them for 60, 70, 80 pounds. That's my dog drinking water behind me, by the way. So I'll not be investing in that, surely, because I'm fairly sure that Columbia will at some point be releasing that movie on 4K. Whether it be on Steelbook or just standard box, I don't know, and I don't care. I just want to watch it on 4K, but I'm just reluctant to buy that Amazon one because the Blu-rays are region locked. And I'm certainly reluctant to pay 60, 70 pound for something that could come along in the next few months in a standard version for 29.99 or whatever. So come on, Columbia, get your act together, get this bloody thing released properly, will you? It's all very well releasing limited numbers and this, that and the other, but all you're doing is encouraging these people to buy several copies, and even though Zavi say limited to one copy per customer, there are ways around that, we all know there are. So they've obviously got 5 or 6 copies and they're making a handsome profit from these things. So get your act together and get this thing released once and for all. We're not bothered about steelbooks, just get a decent copy of it released. I'll also be catching up with your Let's Talk Criterion videos this week, Steve. You've done one on Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which I've never seen, but I've always been intrigued by. So thanks for that, Steve. Much appreciated. Always good to hear from you. Stuart George, morning, Stu. What are your thoughts on one of my favourite actors, Richard Chamberlain? The Three Musketeers, The Man in the Iron Mask, Shogun, and one of my favourite films ever, The Count of Monte Cristo, which also starred Donald Pleasence and Tony Curtis. Absolutely brilliant. Great revenge movie, great prison escape movie, love it. Fair dinkum. Fair dinkum's come up again. I do like Richard Chamberlain. He's not done a massive amount of movies. I think most of his work was in television. My mum used to love him in Dr. Kildare, and also the Thornbirds. She absolutely adored the Thornbirds. My personal favourites of Richard Chamberlain would have to be The Swarm, the Owen Allen disaster movie, and also another Owen Allen disaster movie, The Towering Inferno. They would be my 2 favourite Richard Chamberlain movies. There are quite a few that I would like to catch up with that I haven't seen. One is The Last Wave, which I believe is an Australian movie, which I remember coming out in 1977. I think it was an X certificate or a double A certificate or something like that, and wanting to see it but never actually getting round to it. So that's one that I would like to see. I'd also like to see him in The Slipper and the Rose, which I believe is a take on the Cinderella story, and definitely The Music Lovers, which I'm going to be pre-ordering any time now. It's a Ken Russell movie, released in, I believe, either late June or early July. So I will be grabbing a copy of that. There's also the 2 Alan Quatermain movies that I wouldn't mind looking at, King Solomon's Mines, and I believe The Lost City of Gold was the other one. So yeah, I think he's a good actor. I certainly enjoyed him in Towering Inferno and The Swarm, that's for sure. So yeah, definitely. But we're also talking about George A. Romero's Living Dead movies. I've got a Blu-ray to show you a little bit later on when I'm showing all my bits and pieces off that I've bought that I think you might find of interest. So nice to look. I'll be catching up with your videos as well, mate. I've had some week this week. I've not really had a chance to catch up with anything. But yeah, I will be catching up with your videos. I love the look of that 25 VHS movies. I shall definitely be watching that one. So I shall no doubt be passing some form of comment on that one next week. So thanks, Stuart. Always good to hear from you, mate. Jason P. Morning, Jay. I really should have taken notes. I thought I'd remember things. I haven't. I couldn't do this without notes, I'll tell you now. Just looking at these, I would never have remembered a fraction of this. So I do get that. Well, I would say great video, better than last week's, but there was nothing wrong with last week's either. I'm not going to mention last week's video again. I just thought it was terrible. You lot obviously don't agree with me, so the people have spoken. I shall leave that one with you. Right, let's see what I can remember. Baron Stuart Freeman. You didn't know because you were reading his comment off my profile. Oh, I didn't realise that. So you wouldn't know him. His brother-in-law is a minor actor, though, who has been in EastEnders, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Top Boy, and others. Really? What's his name? I'm just curious. Bird on a Wire, great movie. Another curveball. I would not have thought that Bird on a Wire was your kind of a film. So yeah, caught me off guard with that one. Never seen. I have the next 19 weeks in the bag. I've been busy. Really love this thread, Jay, and I know I keep saying it, but I'm really enjoying it. I think the Horse Whisperer was this week's, which I enjoyed. It's Robert Redford, isn't it? Really enjoyed it. It was just that accident with the horse at the beginning was just horrendous. Apart from that, the movie was brilliant. Trick or treaters. Oh, here we go. A lot of kids go around with adults now. I will light a pumpkin in the window between 5 and 7 p.m. I have a big bowl of sweets ready for them. Kids love to just delve in. Last year, I probably had about 30 kids at the door altogether, although at times there were 3 or 4 at once. Oh, Christ, I couldn't cope with that. They see me at the door and they probably think I'm going to be a grumpy git, but I have a laugh with them and they go away happy. The happiest kids are the ones that come just before 7 because I just tip the bowl in their bag and I shut up shop. They love it. God, I just can't see myself doing it. I know they don't mean any harm, but it's just the knocking on the door. It just irritates the fuck out of me. I'm not one for unexpected visitors. I cannot stand people just turning up on my doorstep, and nobody does it now because I've made my feelings about it perfectly clear. So Halloween night is like my ultimate nightmare. It's just, or was, it's just kids knocking on the door all sodding night. So it absolutely does nothing for me. Maybe I should try and embrace it a bit more. I don't know, but I can't see it happening, mate. I didn't request a refund on the DVD. I just left it because they may genuinely lose one and they might think it's a bit dodgy. Why would they think that? Oh God! I was having a new wing mirror fitted to my motor at Hilton Garage and the internet was shit. I was set up with my AirPods and everything, although it only took them 40 minutes, so still wouldn't have had time to watch your video. I really can't remember anything else. I've been painting the fence for 10 hours, so my head's gone. Oh, Callista, this is one for you. Callie, I'm sure Soldier Blue is on the Legend channel at some point this week, so if you don't want to get the Blu-ray of it, which I'm fairly sure that unless you get that German import, it's going to be cut, then I guess Legend is the place to see it, but I guarantee you it won't be an uncut version. I guarantee it won't be. But it will definitely give you an idea of what kind of a movie it is, and maybe you'll want to invest in that steelbook when it comes out in July. I certainly will be. See you same time next week, Tony. You certainly will, mate. Love that top 10 comedy movies post, by the way. Yours were, let's see, Where the Millers. Not seen that. There's Something About Mary. I couldn't get past the first probably 10 minutes. You know what I'm talking about. So I didn't get past that. See No Evil, Hear No Evil. This is one that I've meant to watch for ages. I'm a huge fan of Stir Crazy. Love Richard Pryor and Gene Wilder. Blazing Saddles, obviously brilliant. But I've never seen See No Evil, Hear No Evil. So that is one that I'm going to add to my watch list right now. Step Brothers. Not a huge Will Ferrell fan, so that one didn't bother me. Planes, Trains and Automobiles. Stone Cold classic. Watch it pretty much every Christmas. Porky's. I haven't seen that for decades. I do remember it. It was one of the original teen sex comedies, wasn't it? From the 80s. Police Academy. The original was brilliant. I think up to about 4 they were good. After that, they definitely, I'm going to try and say floundered again. They floundered a bit. But the first 4, brilliant. National Lampoon's Vacation. I think that was the darkest of the vacation movies. One of the first ones as well. I think it was 1983. Really enjoyed it, but I've not seen that one for a long time, so I'm not sure how it would hold up now. Wouldn't mind watching it again. The Jerk. Saw that at the cinema when it first came out. Had no idea Steve Martin was going to be as big as he became. It was just a good, stupid, daft as a brush movie, but really enjoyed it. An American Pie. Yeah, I did enjoy it. I've got to admit, I did enjoy it. I thought the second one was better. I've watched American Pie 2 3 or 4 times and think it's absolutely brilliant. American Pie 1, not bad. The Wedding, a little bit boring. The Reunion was back to form again, I thought. So, Steve Matt, you threw your hat into the ring with this one as well, our Criterion guy. Your list was Blazing Saddles. Wow. As politically incorrect as you could possibly get. Broadcast News. I've seen this a few times and really, really enjoyed it. This is an early William Hurt movie. I think you were asking about it, Jace. It's not laugh out loud funny, but it is comical, without a doubt. Life of Brian, brilliant. Tootsie, amazing. When Harry Met Sally, I thought it was good, but the other lads bloody hated it. I thought it was all right. Bananas, Woody Allen. One of his weaker ones, I thought, but maybe that's another one that I need to give a second go now that I've got that Woody Allen box set. It Happened One Night. This is an old movie, isn't it? I've not seen it, I've heard of it, but I will definitely be looking it up and taking a look. Modern Times. I'm currently just starting a journey to watch every Chaplin movie in chronological order. I've already watched the first one a few weeks ago. I need to pick that up again. The first one was called Making a Living, so I do need to crack on with that. I even published a small article on the website last week, sort of telling everybody about this little challenge that I've set myself to watch every sort of Chaplin movie in order. So I do need to get back onto that. Modern Times I've never seen. In fact, I've never seen any proper Chaplin film. I've seen clips, excerpts, little bits, but not a whole one. So I'm going to be getting back onto that, and I'm going to watch Making a Living again. And as I said in the article, it should be easy to do because most of them are only like 15-20 minutes long, especially these early ones. So I will be back onto that. Planes, Trains and Automobiles, that's another one that's been come up already. A Fish Called Wanda, I haven't seen that for ages. I do remember enjoying it though. Jason, you were commenting on Steve's list. Didn't realise Broadcast News was a comedy. I think the title put me off when it first came out. Yeah, as I say, Jason, it's not. I don't think it's laugh out loud funny, but it is comical, and it's definitely worth a look. It's a really well acted thing. Albert Brooks is in it. Can't remember who the female lead is. Steve, you'll tell me this, I'm sure you will. Good mix of titles though, Steve. I agree, cracking mixed bag there, without a doubt. Mark, your top 10 looks like this. Step Brothers, I think that was one of Jason's. Not a fan of Will Ferrell, as I said, so not bothered with that. American Pie, yeah, that was one of Jason's as well. See No Evil, Hear No Evil. As I've said, that's been added to my watch list thanks to being a huge fan of Stir Crazy and stuff like that. Happy Gilmore. Somebody mentioned this one to me a while ago. This is Adam Sandler, isn't it? And said, if you want to start on Adam Sandler, because I made the fatal mistake of saying I've never seen an Adam Sandler movie apart from the one where he adopts that little kid and he's teaching him to piss in shop doorways and stuff like that. That's the only one I think I've seen sort of bits of. And somebody said start off with Happy Gilmore, so I'm going to try and track that one down. Billy Madison. Heard of it, but I have no idea who's in it or what it's about. The 40-Year-Old Virgin. Never seen it. The Hangover. Heard a lot about it. It's a bit raucous and a bit raunchy, isn't it? That's one that I wouldn't mind seeing. Life. Is this the Mel Brooks movie? This is ringing a bell, a very distant bell. I believe it's a Mel Brooks movie. If it is, it's one that I definitely wouldn't mind taking in. Superbad. This, I believe, is a remake of a blaxploitation movie. I would think so anyway, because there was a movie called Superbad in the 70s. Trading Places. Ooh, never seen it. I keep meaning to watch it. It's on Disney Plus. I've not really got any excuse, so I will be taking that one in at some point. So just put this cup down. And now, my top 10. These are not in any particular order. They're not even my favourites. They're just 10 comedy films that I enjoy watching, and I've tried to pick movies that I've probably not shown off before, but we'll see how we go. First is Woody Allen. I love Woody Allen's movies, always have done. Again, not laugh out loud funny, but they are comical. I've got 3 here, joint 10th place, or whatever you want to call it. First one is Radio Days. This is just a complete nostalgia fest. The soundtrack to this is absolutely amazing. I believe it's based on Woody Allen's early life in the 30s and 40s. As I say, just the soundtrack of this is amazing. Mia Farrow stars in this with him. Absolutely brilliant if you've not seen it. Next one, Annie Hall from 1977. I didn't think I was going to like this. I remember this was all over every cinema programme, every cinema magazine in 1977. And just looking at the poster, I thought, that's not me. I caught up with it a few years later and thought, why the hell has it taken me so long to watch this? Absolutely loved it. It's just a take on basically love and romance in 1970s New York. Superb movie. Diane Keaton is brilliant. Woody Allen is brilliant. And the final Woody Allen movie, which is joint 10th place, Hannah and Her Sisters, which I believe I've shown off before, stars Max von Sydow. You've also got, Woody Allen, Mia Farrow, Michael Caine, Barbara Hershey, Diane Weist, and Carrie Fisher is in this. This, I think, is, along with Annie Hall and Radio Days, I think these are my three favourite Woody Allen movies. If you've not seen this and you just like a good drama comedy, I don't think you can go too far wrong with that one. So that's Woody Allen, joint 10th place. Ninth, as I say, not in any particular order, Shirley Valentine. I love this movie. A lady going through a midlife crisis decides to take off to Greece for a foreign holiday and has a bit of a romance over there. If you've not seen it, this is absolutely amazing. It's one of those movies that whenever it's on, I will always end up watching it because I never get bored of it. I just thought it was brilliant. Shirley Valentine, that's Pauline Collins, I believe, is in that one. And also Joanna Lumley in one hell of a cameo appearance. Absolutely brilliant. Next one. Smashing Time, starring Lynn Redgrave and Rita Tushingham and a host of 60s stars. If you want to know roughly what swinging 60s London was like, I'm guessing this is the movie that you need to see. It's got a wonderful soundtrack. It's just brilliant, superb. I remember this being on usually on a Sunday afternoon, and I believe it was screened 2-3 times a year on ITV. Again, I never get bored of it. It takes me back to a better time. You know, I just love this. Two Girls Go Start mod. It's just amazing. Next one. Wish You Were Here. This is from the early days of Channel 4. Stars Emily Lloyd in one of her very few starring roles. Also stars Tom Bell. This is apparently based on the very early life of Cynthia Payne, whose career as a brothel madam was brought to life by the movie Personal Services, directed by Terry Jones. I really, really enjoyed this. This is another movie that whenever it's on, I will always end up watching it. Comes from the same sort of stable as Rita, Sue and Bob 2, that kind of thing. But it's a Channel 4 classic, so again, never get bored of that one. Forget Saving Private Ryan, forget Forrest Gump, forget Sully. My favourite Tom Hanks movie ever has got to be this one, Bachelor Party. This predated American Pie by probably about 10 years, something like that. I believe it was about 1984. So yeah, probably 7 or 8 years before American Pie came out. It's just a raunchy adult comedy. Based around a bachelor party, simple as that. So if you've not seen this, and I'm fairly sure most of you will have done, I absolutely love this, and it's by far my favourite Tom Hanks movie, even better than Big, Castaway, all of the marvellous movies that he's done over the years. I end up always coming back to that one. Blazing Saddles, I've shown this off so many times, and I believe it turned up on Steve Mack's list and a couple of others. As politically incorrect as you could possibly get. This is a complete catalogue of everything that you are not allowed to say and do in today's world, and it is just brilliant. Mel Brooks, I always said, is the closest we ever got to Benny Hill. His humour is very much the same. But the language in this is very triggering, or it will be, to the woke brigade, and a lot of the situations in this sort of make you go, oh dear, wow. could we really get away with that even in 1974? If you've not seen this, my God, you need to grab a copy of this and have a look. It's brilliant. One I've already mentioned, Rita, Sue and Bob 2. This is another one from the sort of, I think this was 1986 or 7, something like that. Absolutely wonderful movie. Another one that you could not possibly, you not even entertain making anything like this nowadays. If you did, you'd have to change certain situations. The language definitely wouldn't fly, and some of the situations most definitely you'd never get away with. So it's another of those movies that it gives you a window into a world that no longer exists, and in some ways that's a blessing, and in other days it most definitely is not. So yeah, I'd recommend that one. Absolutely, never get bored of that. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. Oh my God, what can you say about this? Callie, I bet you love this. This is just amazing. Elvira's been around for many, many years, hosting a show of hers that basically shows off sort of crappy horror films and stuff like that. But she's got a real passion for this. She's also got an autobiography out, which I got on Audible not too long back. I haven't listened to it yet, but that's a favourite of mine from the sort of the mid to late 80s. Another politically incorrect nightmare, Kentucky Fried Movie. Rex Kramer, Danger Seeker. Never in a million years could you do that one now. The National Appeal for the Dead. That's another one. There are so many things in this that are so wrong on so many levels, but it's absolutely brilliant. Made in 1977 when pretty much anything went. So yeah, recommended. And I would say my number one, Laurel and Hardy. Oh my God. Do you know what? If I'm ever in a bad mood or I've had a really evil day, I will put something like Laurel and Hardy on, and it will make me laugh over and over and over again. I never get bored of them. This one has got the music box, the one where they try to get the piano up the huge flight of steps outside. If you've not seen it, it is just comedy gold. And it also doubles up as my box set of the week. Just bear with me. Which is this. What a beautiful thing that is. And this has got pretty much every movie that they've ever done inside, looking like that. Isn't that nice? You've got Spanish versions, you've got trailers, you've got all sorts on that set. And I would say that they are by far my favourite comic duo ever, especially from the silent era. So there you go, that's my top 10, well, not top 10, but 10 of my favourite comedy films. So I'm going to take a quick break. I'll be back with some more in just a second. And we're back. Right, I was determined to bring this in at under an hour, but I don't think it's going to happen somehow. We'll see how we go. Callie, great to hear from you. A mammoth comment. I can't wait to get to grips with this one. Saturday Tony time makes my weekend feel complete. Thank God I haven't got to sing it again. Gonna have to watch this in 2 parts. Stressful weekend, but I'll get it watched by tomorrow, which you did. Tony doesn't like trick or treating because he has to give them stuff, but Amazon is okay because they give him stuff. Good to know he prefers to receive. What? I have no idea what you're referring to there. Of course I don't. Going fortnightly is tricky, like you say. The comments are 3 weeks old by the time you record the next episode. Just pace yourself and keep it weekly, hon, which I'm going to. As I said earlier, I think when I said that I was going to start doing it fortnightly, I think it was just literally a knee-jerk reaction to the pretty appalling video that I thought it was appalling, that came sort of the week before. So I've got no intention of actually going fortnightly. I know it wouldn't work, the same as you guys know. Plus, it doesn't feel right if I'm not sitting here on a Sunday morning doing this. It just doesn't feel right. But now I've got my weekends back, I can get my film watching done on a Saturday, and I can dedicate Sunday morning, or at least an hour of it, to recording these. I will certainly be doing it a lot earlier next week rather than sort of starting at 9 o'clock, 9:30. Fingers crossed I will have the whole thing done by that time next week, but we shall see how we go. The best laid plans of all that. I'm right there with you, Hunt. I hate going into town, but for very different reasons. Why can't people be nice to you? I mean, can't they just keep their evil, horrible fucking remarks to themselves? My mum always used to say that if you've got nothing nice to say, don't say anything at all. And she was quite right. Absolutely spot on. And I've kind of lived my life by that rule. If I can't think of anything nice to say, especially when I'm with people, I just keep my gob shut. That's the easiest way to do it. So I do totally get why you feel that way, Callie. I get that all the time, more so when I do solo vids. We're talking about our doubts about our videos, etc. More so when I do my solo vids, VCR and Violet's Underworld. I get 5 or 10 minutes into it and think, just keep going, get it done. But then I'm disappointed in not just the vid, but myself for not doing it better. I think JK summed it up perfectly last week when he said that we are our own worst critics, and he's absolutely right. We see things in the videos that we do and the work that we do generally that nobody else spots or sees. It's hard. If you don't do this, you don't get it, sort of thing. I'm one for, I wouldn't say perfection, but I like things to be right. And if I don't feel it is right, I would rather do it again until it is right. And occasionally I do lose sight of the fact that this is just an amateur little thing that we're doing. You know, we're just people talking to a small group of a sort of a small audience, and it doesn't have to be perfect. All you have to do is basically show up and talk, and that's what we do. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but I do get it. I stopped a vid 28 minutes in, I think, 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I can't remember what it was, but something went wrong and I thought, I can't leave that in. So I literally deleted it before I had the chance to do anything else with it. And once you've deleted it, you've got to do it again. But I have no intention of doing anything like that again if I can help it anyway. But yeah, you're right, JK. We are our own worst critics. You will understand it. Callie does. Everybody does that makes videos. So I've actually deleted vids and started over, only for the second try to be worse than the first one. So no matter how bad you think a vid is, it could be worse. Yeah, I've done that. Been there, done that. I think the trick is with this, and I'm a fine one to talk, I know, but you know, just do it, cobble it together and publish it, and that's it. To hell with it. You know, people are not looking for mistakes. They're not. But the problem is we see them, which is what we've just said. My epic comments are epic. Thanks for the love, honey. You're more than welcome. I love reading these things out. And you spend so long, you must spend ages writing these things out. Kermode speak or Kermode code. Shonky. He uses a lot of other expressions as well, which I'm no doubt going to adopt over the coming months. But Shonky is one of my favourite ones. Night of the Living Dead is awesome, but Dawn just elevates everything up to 11, don't it just? I remember seeing Dawn of the Dead for the first time, and my first reaction to it was, my God, this is nasty, really nasty. I mean, I thought Night of the Living Dead was grim for saying it was made in, what, 1968? But this, as you say, this cranked it right up a level. But a brilliant movie, but it's still powerful when you watch it now. Apart from that final track that plays over the end credits. I don't know whose idea it was to put that piece of music on it, but it was an odd choice, I thought. I watch a lot of retro toy vids, and I always see things I had when I was younger that are now worth hundreds, and it makes me wish I hadn't got rid of them. What have you got that for? The answer is nostalgia. And it's absolutely right. Excuse me. These things take us back to a time, a better time, a time when we were happy, a time when we basically didn't have a care in the world. And I do miss that kind of thing. And I've realised it recently by sort of collecting things that I used to have when I was a kid. So yeah, I absolutely get that, and I will continue to collect bits and pieces over the years that I used to have, you know, many years ago, like those two Close Encounters books, all that kind of thing. I think I mentioned board games last week. I'm looking into a couple of those. What I'm going to do when I get them, I don't know, because I certainly won't be playing with them. I can't see it anyway. Going to have to take a break now. I'll watch the rest later this evening. So that was when you took a break. I'll be catching up with your latest episode of VCR at some point next week, by the way. So I shall be talking about that one next weekend. Back again to finish this episode. More top fives would be nice, hon. Gives me a list of films I might not have checked out before. I fully intend to keep that going because I love showing off movies. My only thing is I keep wondering whether I'm going to run out of movies to show off. But I can't honestly see that happening. I was supposed to be thinning things out. If anything, I'm getting more movies now than I ever have. So I do need to turn that around. But I will be doing more top fives, whether it be genre, sort of actor, years that they came out, that kind of thing. But I love doing those top five, so I will be doing more. So there will be more coming out. So watch this space. Same one. After about 45 minutes to an hour, I start to trip over my words more. It's not just me then. It's a real worry for me, and it is. I noticed it in the last section. I was starting to trip over words when I was showing off those comedy films. But I'm fairly sure that if I watch it back, sort of later today or something, I shall look at it and think it's not that bad, but it feels bad to me. But I'm really glad I'm not the only one that happens. And not that I would wish that on you, obviously, but I'm glad it's not just me that this happens to. I don't know what it is. It's like your brain or your mouth just trips over words. I know the answer to this is to slow down, which is what I'm trying to do now, rather than prattle at 100 miles an hour. That's when it happens, is when I start to talk really fast, and that's when it starts to kick in. But yeah, it's good to know I'm not the only one that has that. It is a worry, and I know I say it isn't, but it is. Right, you've sold me on it. Going to track down Soldier Blue on Blu-ray. Grab the German import that I was showing off the other week. That is the one you want, because if you're going to watch this movie, you want to see it uncut, or the most uncut version that you can get, which should be about 115 minutes. But it is out on Blu-ray as well as 4K in July, so you might be wise to hold on to that, because the running time is listed as 115 minutes. Now, to me, that is uncut, but I do need to look into this before I purchase it. So leave that one with me. I'll find out what I can, and if it is uncut, you'd probably be wise to hold on for that one, because it's out, I think, in July, but July 20th, something like that. But it's an awesome film. It's just an uncomfortable watch. But now I've planted the seed, you're definitely going to want to watch it. So just have to point out, I love hearing your doggy snoozing in the background. I didn't realise you could hear her. She just sort of sits there. She's probably doing it now, actually. She's asleep. So you may be able to hear her, I don't know. But I didn't realise she was that loud. You can definitely hear her when she's slurping water behind me, because, as I said before, that does sound a bit suspect. I swear to you, that's what it is. But yeah, I didn't realise you could hear her. A month of Mad Max. Now that sounds like a good month. Can't wait. I've actually checked out the quality of the original Mad Max and Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior. And it is a major upgrade from Blu-ray. Without a doubt, it is so much better. So I get the feeling that it will enhance the viewing experience, and I will enjoy these movies a lot more than I did probably, was it about 12 months ago when I watched them. But I shall let you know when I've had a look what I think of those. Black Superman. Yeah, why not? I mean, there is a Black Superman in the comics, so it's not like it's a new concept. I believe Guy pointed this out to me a while ago, and I'd completely forgotten about it. So yeah, I guess if it was part of the comic book, there's absolutely no harm in it. I think I was saying that he wasn't written as black, but apparently he was in certain comics. So it's It's not a discussion I want to get into at the moment, because whenever I talk about this, it comes out wrong and it sounds bad, and I really don't want it to do that. So I shall leave that one where it belongs. We'll see what happens. Love a bit of Kong and Godzilla, even if the new ones aren't amazing. I grew up on 60s Godzilla, so trust me, I've seen worse. I love the 60s Godzilla, and given the choice between those movies, like Godzilla versus Mothra versus Mechagodzilla, all that, I would take those any day over the MonsterVerse movies. But I do need to take a look at the MonsterVerse movies from the start before I watch the new Empire. I basically checked the movie that I got hold of for quality, and it looks okay, but I don't know. I'm going to go back to the start and begin with the MonsterVerse again. I just hope I get more out of it this time round than I did the last time round, but we shall see what happens with that. Humanoids from the Deep. Seen it, love it, but that ending gets me every time. It's horrible. Isn't it awful? I remember seeing it again, Burt Nodian. It would have been 1980 when it first came out. It was on a double bill with When a Stranger Calls. I mean, that was a nerve shredder as well. And I do remember that ending. It was one of those, oh my God, I can't believe they actually showed that. It's, oh God, it was bad. It was really bad, but a cracking movie. Absolutely brilliant monster movie. For the time, I would imagine it was quite groundbreaking just for that scene alone. R.I.P. Roger Corman. I love B movies as much as I do because of him. Thank you, Mr. Corman. You most definitely are a legend. He totally was. His work output was just unbelievable. The amount of films he directed and produced. I can't remember how many it was. I did add them up a few weeks ago, but it was just phenomenal. And he's done some cracking movies. He knew what people wanted, especially with monster movies and sci-fi movies and stuff like that. He just had a sixth sense for what people would flock to see. And I've located or tracked down a couple of movies of his that I want to take a look at, that Gareth, Video Tasties, he posted the posters for them earlier this week. I believe one was called Legend of the Deep, and another one was called The Rift. Never heard of either of them, but as soon as I found out there were Corman movies, I thought, yeah, I'm going to take a look at those. So I've tracked them down, and I shall be taking a look at those and let you know what I think of them. But Roger Corman, total legend, absolutely. That Bruce Lee box set is stunning, honey. The only film of his I have is Enter the Dragon. He and Brandon were taken from us far too soon. Quite agree. I mean, you couldn't make it up the way it happened. Enter the Dragon, I think, was definitely his best movie. Absolutely his best. I don't think he got much better than that. Well, he wouldn't have. He died straight after, didn't he? I do like his Golden Harvest stuff, but Enter the Dragon was the peak of his career, and it's a shame it ended basically straight after that. As for Brandon Lee, the only movie I've seen him in is The Crow. Is that the only one he did? And I only saw that one very, very recently, only a few weeks ago. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Can definitely see what you get out of that one, Callie. Absolutely. That's very much your movie, without a doubt. Yeah, Bruce Lee. Yeah, that box set is absolutely beautiful. I will do another video of that one, I think, showing it off a little bit better. Okay, well, that's my second lot of comments for this week's episode. I think I'm trying to set a record for the longest comments. You're doing well with that one. As always, son, great episode. You keep making them, I'll keep watching them. And in the words of Miss Violet, if you can't be good, be twisted. Don't get mad, get sadistic. I'm not sure I've got it in me to be sadistic, but thank you anyway. Appreciate that. Good to hear from you, Callie, and thanks ever so much for the comments. Very much appreciated, as per usual. Look forward to hearing from you next week. Someone posted on the group earlier this week about the movie Convoy, and basically what the post said was, I wanted a CB radio after watching this. Darren Nichols, morning Daz, he said me too. Lee described the movie as tremendous, or at least I think that's what he was referring to. Convoy, what a movie. Absolutely brilliant. Sam Peckinpah at his absolute best without being ultra-violent. Jason P, you were saying, my dad was an HGV driver in the 70s and 80s. I used to be his driver's mate from about the age of 12 in the 80s. My mum called the school to say I was poorly. Ah, ah, ah. My dad was always on his CB. I watched Convoy and the Smokey movies, so I knew all the lingo. Bloody baffled me, but I have fond memories. His CB handle was Kid Curry. Mine, let me just show you these first. Just bear with me a sec. That's my copy of Convoy Blu-ray. It looks absolutely stunning on Blu-ray, I've got to say. And it is just, for repeat viewings, this movie, it doesn't get much better. I love watching this. I've seen it countless times. Never get bored of it. It looks beautiful. The setting, the desert, it's just gorgeous. The two leads, Ali McGraw and Chris Christopherson, superb in this, so totally get that. Another one that you mentioned, Smokey and the Bandit. This also features CBs. This is the 4K Ultra HD version, so I'm looking forward to having a look at that sometime. So I've watched this for ages. Brilliant comedy. My handle, way back then, because I had a CB radio in the very early 80s, and I don't know whether you remember this, Jace, but there used to be a CB club above a pub in Derby Road. Can't remember what the damn club name was, or the pub. But they used to meet up there probably once a month. And it was basically a lot of CB enthusiasts just getting pissed. And then they'd put a film on, a CB related film. And it was usually something like Convoy, Smokey and the Bandit. I think Breaker was another one. There were probably 5 or 6 that they just repeated over and over and over again. And we all had the strangest handles. I think did you say your dad's was Kid Curry? Was it your dad? Yeah. Mine, I'd only seen the movie at the pictures a few weeks before I got my CB radio. Mine was The Exterminator. We all took it so seriously back then. I used to sit for hours upstairs on this thing, just talking to people all over the place. And there were some strange handles. Bograt, I think, was one. There was a young lady on there. I think her CB handle was Playful Pussycat. I remember how she was very softly spoken, very seductive she sounded. And I remember she never ever came to the club. And we were all speculating on, well, the lads were speculating on what she looked like. And I said, I guarantee you she won't look anything like what you think she looks like, judging by the voice. We never did find out. We never did find out who Playful Pussycat was, or whether, she looked like Bridget Fonda or Hattie Jakes. Who knows? But there were happy days. We were easily pleased back then. I used to have. Did you used to have the Ariel on a biscuit tin lid? I had that. Yeah. I can't remember the make and model of the CB radio I had. I had about 2 or 3 over the sort of year and a half that I went through this thing. But I loved it, absolutely adored it. And I would sit up there for hours talking to people, so I totally get that. Top 5 favourite movies this week was Keanu Reeves. Not seen many of his movies, so I've not been able to join in with that one. I'm going to try. And I'll have a look at his filmography and I'll see if I can dig out 5 and put them sort of days 1 to 5 and this, that and the other. I did read the synopsis of one of his called Knock Knock. I can't remember who posted it now, but I remember reading it and thinking, that reminds me of something else. That storyline sounds familiar. Went onto the internet and I found this. Did you know that Knock Knock is a remake of a violent exploitation movie called Death Game, which was shot in 1974 but not released until 1977. It starred Sondra Locke, Clint Eastwood's ex-missus, and Colin Camp. Both individuals and the director had a hand in the production of Knock Knock, while Camp also had a cameo in the newer film. I've not seen Death Game, but I'm fairly sure, with it being described as an exploitation shocker, that it will be quite violent. I'm guessing that the remake with Keanu Reeves is exactly the same story, but even more gruesome. But we shall see. We'll see how we go with that one. I've tracked down a copy of the original Death Game, and what I'd like to do is watch that back to back with Knock Knock to see how they compare. But I've got a pretty fair idea of what I'm in for with that. Right, I was going to review 3 movies, but I'm going to save them for next week. I've watched over the last couple of days The Fall Guy, the Ryan Gosling, and all week I've been saying Ryan Reynolds to everybody, and it's like Ryan Reynolds isn't in it, and it's oh yeah, the other one then. I always get the two confused. So I've watched The Fall Guy. I've watched Back to Black, which is the Amy Winehouse biopic, and also Civil War, which is Alex Garland's latest movie. Now I'm going to be talking about those next week because I just want to show off a few bits that I've bought here before I disappear. But I will be talking about those 3 movies next week, and a couple of other bits of news that I wanted to squeeze in, but I've not had a chance this week. So I'll start with the magazines. 50th issue of Film Stories, which the main feature of this is an interview, quite lengthy one, with William Shatner. He's 93 or something like that now. I mean, the guy's still working. You know, he's obviously from the same school as Clint Eastwood, 94 and still doing it. But I'm looking forward to getting into that. There's all sorts in there. It's a really thick magazine as well. The latest issue of Infinity, which has articles on The Man with the Golden Gun at 50. Let's see, Italian crime shockers, Marvel in the UK, Spidey hits Blighty. The man who created Godzilla, Star Wars models and beyond, remembering David McCallum, news, reviews, all sorts. I love this magazine, colourful, a great read. The Dark Side, which is its sister magazine, which basically concentrates on horror movies. And on this, you've got Not Suitable for Minors, My Bloody Valentine Revisited, the original My Bloody Valentine, not that 2009 remake, which actually wasn't bad, but nowhere near as good as the original. You've got all sorts of other bits in there as well, so I'll be having a read of that. Intermission. I subscribed to this last week, and this turned up a couple of days later. This is the first issue of the official Talking Pictures TV magazine. It's 40 pages. I've not read it yet, but there is all sorts in here. Articles on the footage detectives, Mike Reed and Noel Cronin. Letters to the Projectionist. Introducing the Theatre Cinema Association. Oh, you are awful, but I like you. The Life and Times of Dick Emery. Can't wait to get into that. Latest issue of Total Film, and I had these through yesterday. I'd forgotten that I'd not had these through for like the last few months. I've resubscribed. Cinema Retro. So they sent me that one. They've also sent me the latest issue, which this is going to be good. You've got The Wild Angels, an article on Pretty Baby. That was Brooke Shields' debut. Diamonds Are Forever, Twins of Evil. I can't wait to get into that. And this is a special that they did. They do these every now and then, called Movie Classics. A Cinema Retro special edition magazine on Sam Peckinpah's The Wild Bunch. Awesome movie. Saw it a long time ago. Violent as hell. This is a 50th anniversary Sam Peckinpah Western masterpiece. Special 124 page issue celebrating the movie. And this has got all sorts in it. It's got articles, posters, all sorts. I think that was about £8, but worth every penny. Now I'll quickly rattle through these. These are some DVDs, etc. that I've had. First one, I saw this by accident. I've already got this, but this is a new edition of it. The soundtrack to the movie Barbarella. I love Barbarella, adore it, always have done, and I love the soundtrack and the music. This features a lot of extra tracks. It also features the main title theme extended. I had to have this for 14 quid. I think it's an American import as well. That was a must-have. This one's for you, Stuart George. We were talking about George A. Romero earlier on. I've got another of his 70s classics coming next week, which I tracked down on eBay. But for now, The Crazies. I saw this ages and ages ago. Must be 40, maybe even 50 years ago. I remember it being violent. I remember it being pretty nasty. I'm not entirely sure. Is it to do with a... That's it. It's a kind of a disease that's wiping people out and turning them into blood crazed, sort of like zombies and that sort of thing. It sounds amazing. I have seen it, but it was a long, long time ago, and I believe it was part of the horror double bill in the 70s. Been watching the second series of this. I'm really, really enjoying it, and I thought, you know what? I saw this for £9.99 on Amazon, so I thought, you know what? You might as well have the series while you're about it. So if you get a chance to watch this, it's intriguing. It's like The Love Boat meets Friday the 13th, but yeah, it's worth a look. This one, David Mansell, you were talking about Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I saw this on Amazon and thought this would make a nice companion piece for it. Rock and Roll High School featuring the Ramones. I don't know who else is in it, but it's a nice little package from, is it 101? 101 Films. So you've got lots of extras on the back there. You've also got, I believe, a book. It's still in the cellophane, so I don't know for sure yet, but I think there's a book in there. And I would love to watch that back to back with Fast Times at Ridgemont High. I think they'd go well together. I was saying earlier that, oh no, I wasn't, because I've not reviewed them yet. This is to do with the movies that I've not talked about this week. One of them was The Fall Guy. I get the feeling I've not seen the best of Ryan Reynolds, and this is a movie that everyone... Ryan Reynolds, I've done it again. Ryan bloody Gosling. I get the feeling I've not seen the best of him, and somebody recommended that I get this one, Drive. And then somebody else a couple of days told me there's a scene in it that you won't like, but I'm not going to tell you about it. It's set in an elevator, so I'm probably going to be taking off towards the parents' guide to find out what's in this before I watch it. But I've heard this is brilliant. Come back to that one. Jason, JK, our Ginger Ninja. Patrick, yes. This is the Indicator limited edition. You've got a book in there. I know very little about this, other than it's a guy in a coma who can still kill people even though he's in a coma. That's pretty much all I know about it. So I'm looking forward to watching that. I thought that would interest you. 4K of Blade Runner. I haven't seen Blade Runner since the early 80s. And they reckon the transfer on this is absolutely stunning. So can't wait to have a watch of that. This was recommended by Steve Mack, the piano. Again, know very little about this apart from the poster I've seen quite a few times. Doesn't tell you very much about it, so that's another one I need to have a look at. And the 2 for £30 deal, an HMV. I had to take advantage of this. 4K of The Doors. This is the extended version, the final cut. Can't wait to see that. Love that movie. A total stone cold classic. Casablanca, Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman. Brilliant movie. Oh, excuse me. Mulholland Drive, a David Lynch masterpiece, so I've heard. Again, had this recommended to me. Can't wait to have a watch of that. And finally, Apocalypse Now, the final cut. This is all 3 hours of basically the final cut of the movie. Seen this a few times. I believe I've seen the original version and the Redux cut. Not seen this final cut, so looking forward to getting into that one. Right, I am going to wrap it up. Thanks ever so much for joining me as per usual. It's not gone too bad today. Yeah, there was a bit of a mistake earlier on, but we're not too worried about that. If you've enjoyed the video, please thumbs up, like, subscribe, all of that kind of stuff. Have a brilliant week, folks, and I will be with you again the same time next week. Again, thanks for joining me, folks. Take care, everybody, and I'll talk to you next week.